Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Horror Lives Here podcast. I'm Aaron Wojciechowski, and I'm here with my guest, Mr. Stacy Misenheimer
Okay.
of Sway Productions. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you? Thanks for
Doing
having me.
good, man. Thank you for coming on. So why don't we get started with you just sort of telling us a little bit about how you got started in film?
When I was younger, I played with little GI Joe toys, and what I did is I never really played with them like kids do, with pow 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 pow, like that. I would set them up into like little. I guess I was blocking them or something, put them in places, and then have them talk, then have them move. It's kind of like making a little movie. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing, and my mom always thought I was weird, but that's all right. I didn't play like other kids.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm sure. I bet if you look in
No.
the history of a lot of big horror directors, none of them really did.
Yeah. Everybody's different,
I
and that's
mean,
okay.
yeah, exactly. So how does Sway Productions come to be?
Well, the name actually, Swade. It's my name is Stacy Wade, so it just kind of got on my jersey in football. It was Misenheimer was way too long to fit, so they just
Right.
said, "Well, put Wade on there." Like, okay, S Wade. Well, just then it just got shortened, as you can probably imagine. And so the Swade, that's where it came from. I didn't know what to do. I whenever I was doing this, starting in like 2011 or 12, I didn't know. I just wanted to make films, and I'm still that way now. I don't do a lot of the technical stuff with like the business side of things. I just want to keep
Right.
making films. And, so my buddy's like, yeah, name your YouTube channel. I'm like, sure, whatever. What do I want to name it? He goes, I don't know. Like, what about Sway Productions? Like, sure, that'll work. So this little logo is the one he came up with because he goes, I got a logo for it. It's like, okay, what is it? He said, that one. I was like, okay, that'll work. I just want to make films.
Right.
So
and you're good at them. I like I
thank you.
told you earlier off air. I watched just about all the shorts of yours that was on YouTube anyway that I could find today on your YouTube page.
Yeah, thank you.
And you you do like being a slasher fan myself. I was like really digging the slasher movies that you were doing. The Leatherface, the Michael Myers, the Jasons. You even had a Freddy Krueger one, a very short Freddy Krueger one that was really good.
Hmm.
So let's start talking about some of those first, and then we'll get into your original one, The Plan, which is
Sure.
great. We'll
Sure. Thank you.
but but first let's start with Leatherface. Where did the idea for Leatherface come from, and how did you go ahead and shoot it and everything?
Um, Let me see. Obviously, Leatherface is a known deal, but my deal is I love Arkansas so much that I want to do everything I do around Arkansas. And it actually, I went. I'm trying to remember where I was when I got the idea that I wanted to do it. Actually, what happened? I don't remember where I was, but I actually watched the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre like a year or two ago for the first time because I don't watch a
Wow.
lot of TV or movies. So I finally got to watch it, and I was like, I want to do one of those. And so really, that's what happened. And then I stumbled upon some property that was actually used in the film, and that little shed and everything. And the rest is what it is. And I kind of want to. Every time I do a film, I want to. It's new ideas. Like for example, kind of with that, it was I had new actors that I never worked with before, all three of them, and which Carson did good, and Marks Mitchell did good as Leatherface, and then the younger guy, I cannot remember his name because I don't talk to him that much. I feel bad, but he did really good too, really good. And in that movie, Carson, when she got shot with the arrow in the back, um, when he kicked her back, he really kicked her back. So we didn't do that again because
Right.
Carson's like we were like, dang, he really kicked her. I thought that was funny, but it's always fun. It was hot that day. We were all sweating a lot,
Yeah,
and
it,
Marks
it looked
actually saved a shot. I
it
remember that
looked pretty
now.
hot. It looked pretty hot just watching it. Yeah, I could
Oh
see
my
that.
goodness. Oh my goodness. We I had this so this now I remember I had have to I'm old and I got to think of things. But I had this film right episode on YouTube that I wanted to replicate, which is where the lawnmower thing came in. And so the effect was that you cut like a honeydew and you cut the inside of it and you fill it with fake blood, and then you film do all the stuff, and then whenever you get an edit, whenever you start the mower, You lower it, it looks like the head's being chopped up and going through the mower thing. Well, it didn't work the way I wanted it to, only because you got to keep your camera locked down. So when you mask all this stuff together in your computer compositor or whatever, you don't have to do all that. Well, I accidentally bumped the tripod. So Mark's like, I know where one is. I'll go get one real quick. And I was like, thank God for Mark's, saving that shot, So it still didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but that's nobody's fault but my own.
It still looked cool. I mean, it really did. Like she grabbed the lawnmower. I'm like, oh, lawnmower versus chainsaw. This is going to be pretty good. And
yeah.
So Leatherface was the first one that I watched today, and then I saw your Freddy Krueger one probably a few months ago. I watched it. I've already watched it before, and it was really, again, I have a little daughter, a 4-year-old daughter, so having a little girl having the nightmare kind of resonated with me, I guess, just because of the fact I'm a dad now. But
yeah.
it was pretty creepy. So you mind just talk a little bit about the nightmare one?
Yeah, that was my daughter, obviously, in the film. I've already done a Jason. I did No Words. I did the Jason thing. I did the Michael thing, and I thought the next thing to do was a Freddy thing. So the only reason I haven't done another one is because the mask, I no longer have that mask. And the only reason I don't have the mask, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they gave me a suggestion. Actually, last night, this guy gave me a suggestion. And I was like, now I got to have the mask again, But anyway, the only reason I don't have it is because it was a great looking mask, but it wouldn't move with your lips the way I wanted it to. And to me, that just didn't do right. So that's why you don't see him talking in the movie hardly at all. And another thing is, besides the mask is, I don't know. I'm just not a big Freddy fan, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of him. Whenever I did that little trailer for it, where it's at the park around where I live and everything, that was it's kind of a serious version. Freddy, in my opinion, he would be awesome. He would be like an amazing, scary person if he didn't tell jokes. For me, I get disconnected. So, but anyway, yeah, it was a fun film, and that we cut one of the scenes to where he runs his claw down her hand, and I thought, that I'll just add the blood and all that stuff, But then I thought, well, I think that's a little too serious for this young girl, and all her friends might watch it, so I better not do that, So when these kids get older, it's going to be hell.
Well, he's probably my favorite character, but I do agree that the jokes do get a little old. That's what when Fred, like the first couple of movies, he doesn't really talk a whole lot, and he's very, very dark and kind of scary. From part 3 on, I do like some of the other sequels. I admit it, from part 3 on, they're kind of not my favorites just because he does talk so dang much. But the first couple of movies, he says a few things here and there, but when he does talk, it means something, and it's not necessarily a joke. So I could totally get where you're coming from and see why he's not your favorite. I mean, they turn him into Benny Carlin or some comedian or something.
Yeah. And the what was it, 2010 remake? I wasn't a big fan of that, but I loved the backstory. That's what I liked about it. You actually found out more about Freddy, and why he became what he became and how sick of a person he was, because they skirted around that in all the movies, but they finally confirmed it in that. The first original Nightmare, we actually watched that for Halloween this year with the kids and their friends and stuff like that. And my daughter's like, "How did y'all think this was scary?" I'm like, "Don't look at me. Look at my wife. She's the one that had nightmares about this. It wasn't me." I laughed at it.
So you mentioned No Words, and that was pretty awesome. So we'll talk about that next. But I love the idea of Jason and Michael Myers kind of colliding, and so talk a little bit about how kind of you came up with that idea and the execution of it and everything, because I thought it was really good.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know how I came about that because that was so long ago. It was a lot of fun. I met let's see, I met Dustin, Tariq, Danielle. I already knew Colin, but the other Danielle, Tariq, and Dustin, I met at the Theater of Horror in Hot Springs, where we did a little skit there or whatever on weekends. And I wanted to film. I originally wanted to film those two, not even like pointing at each other, just stop it with them both looking at each other. Excuse me, but at the end of it, I decided, let's go at each other. and I purposely didn't let them fight. Everybody wanted to fight, as far as that goes. But I was like, no, because if one of them wins, the other side will be mad. Well, then at the end
Right.
of it, I had this little last minute idea. I was like, well, let's have, Jason, because in my opinion, I think Jason would win the fight. I don't know why I think that. I just do, because Jason's more of a bulldog and Michael's kind of a, I hate to say wimpy person, but that's my opinion. Anyway,
Right.
So at the end of it, I was like, well, we just say Jason just grab the mask and walk off. And then, I was going to do another one, but, things just happened. But No Words was a lot of fun. We filmed that, which is on these fan films. It's an effect like the lawnmower. For No Words, it was the axe effect, where it throw the axe
That's a
and
tree.
she
Yeah.
moves out the way. And then it was, my version of the Rob Zombie Halloween 2, where, he stabs where Michael stabs the Tariq in the floor. And, you don't really see the stabs, but your mind puts all that together. You see him jerking and Michael's, that kind of stuff. I think those are probably, and besides the location and the fog machine, I think that's what really sold that. It went pretty good for me, and so that's why I'm excited to do another one.
Literally just a few minutes ago, I had my brother in here with me, and we watched the. I believe you just call it Halloween fan film. It's the one where the two guys are in the house.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a gun. And I remember I watched it earlier today too, and I started thinking, God, these two guys are just they did great at the beginning, looking for a weapon, trying to defend themselves. And then when they get Michael down, they're just like, oh my God, we killed Michael. We got to take a selfie and all this other stuff. I'm
That's
like,
how
oh
it
my
would
God.
be, though, wouldn't it? I mean, I would do
Yeah,
that.
true. Yeah. But I sit there going, because I mean, obviously they don't know, but that, something bad's going to happen. It's not, Michael's not just going to lay there. So, but that was a lot of fun to watch. Talk about that one for a little bit.
That one was at my buddy Kent's house. And the only reason I wasn't a fan of the way it turned out with the shotgun shot, because I didn't have his uniform tore up. And that was actually Robert Babcock playing Michael. But I didn't like the way it turned out. I didn't want to add fake clothes going off, because then you wouldn't be a hole there, So anyway, it was a lot of fun. The whole idea of that one was just to try suspense, because everybody knows Michael's going to get up, but when is he going to get up? So I kind of wanted that in the back of your mind while you're watching these guys celebrate and take pictures. And I was sitting there thinking, how close can I put these people to that knife and put his arm around him and all this and that? And people's got to sit uneasy when they watch it, because everybody knows he's finna come back up.
Right.
So, and then that one was supposed to have the knife thing where he stabs him, sticks him on the wall, but I wasn't ready for that at the time. I filmed it that way, but when I got home, it wouldn't work. So anyway, it was fun to do.
I can't remember the name of the other Halloween you did, but you did another one with Amy Lynn Woodall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one was probably my favorite of the Michael movies that I watched of yours. That one was probably my favorite because it was right from the get go. I mean, as soon as the movie started, it was just action from this time it started to the time it ended.
Mm-hmm. That one, that was the first time I think me and Amy Lynn worked together, and Daryl. If I'm thinking right, I think that's it. We talked about it, before we filmed it, and she nailed the role. I don't know what to say. And Daryl, there was another guy that was supposed to play Daryl's role, but that sometimes things fall through. So Daryl was nice enough to step up and do that role. Amy Lynn killed it. I mean, that was another little film that everybody's going to figure out my secrets now. So I see an effect, and then I listen to music and I write something to it, around the effect, which is probably not the best thing to do, but it works. Anyway, I mean, that's the way I like starting out these YouTube things, is with action or something going on to grab the audience's attention. Whereas with the plan, that's a total different thing. That's just all story or, stuff like that. But yeah, with Amy Lynn started out coughing up the blood. She's reaching out and you see Michael walking over. So everybody in the audience knows that Michael is heading over. He's about to go get Daryl, and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to work on fundamentals of filming, which is obviously, like the first thing with the two guys, the suspense, telling the audience more than the characters know, which is more suspense. And, just things like that, letting the audience think for themselves, not taking them along the whole time.
So I believe we're pretty much through your fan films except for one, and then we'll get to your original stuff, which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
But the Joker fan film that you did was so good, and the actor that played Joker was so good, and was Carson is our name.
Yes.
She was phenomenal as a detective. That one was I watched that one probably 4 times in a row because the acting was so good in it.
Yeah,
So
both of them
that
did awesome. That was I wrote that in probably an hour, and we filmed it in under 2, and it was at Allison Marks's office. I mean, it was quickly, just honestly, I'm not for sure about this. I'd have to find out from them, but I think we did this in 2 weeks as far as I wrote it, filmed it, and all that, as quick as possible. Just we may have done it in a week. I don't know, but just something quick because I just wanted to try something out. And, Lewis nailed the role. Carson did good too. There was a lot of shots that I couldn't use because of, there's a microphone in the way or something like that. There was a lot of shots I couldn't use that I had to cut. Originally, Lewis's character, I cut this because I didn't feel like at the time, but when she's got that gun to his head, he actually, puts his mouth over it and kisses it and everything. So I was like, I don't think that's the Joker, but I like it. So I just cut it anyway. There's a lot of stuff like that gets cut, but working with those two, Carson and Lewis and, Amy Lynn, I've honestly been lucky, even, filming South Day, early on and filming in El Dorado area with the actors down there. I've really been fortunate to have good actors. They make it good.
As a honestly an obsessed Batman fan, that's what caught my attention originally. That's my favorite villain of all time is the Joker and Freddy Krueger. Those are my top 2 favorite villains ever. And so when it was a Joker movie and I saw the makeup, it looked a lot like the Heath Ledger makeup in Dark Knight. So I was like, this is going to be really good. And then, I was freaking obsessed with it for a little while.
There was going to be another one, but I've got an idea for a second one. And I ordered a Batman mask, like a cow, like a black cow, but that I thought, but then, you can't really go cheap on Batman. You don't want to look like something out there on a paper mache. You know what I mean? So that's an expensive Etsy purchase. And so, I got that mask on Amazon. I think it was $30 or $40, but it's small, but it'd still be cool. I like the Joker because, playing the Batman Arkham games on, the PlayStation or whatever with Mark Hamill as the Joker, it's just like, there's room. And then, Heath Ledger's Joker, it was based on that. So it's kind of a mix between the two is what I told Lewis to do. And he knocked it out of the park. And Carson, fired right back at him. So it was good. They do good together.
Yeah, I mean, she looked like the type of girl that you wouldn't want to mess with. She certainly was no like a little damsel in distress or anything. She was a tough girl that was right there and was not afraid of the Joker. He didn't intimidate her one bit. And their back and forth was great.
Which is what I like, and at the end of that, the handcuffs never were fastened, which just shows that, he was in control the whole time.
Right.
That was a fun little film. And afterwards, we all went to Diablo's and had tacos and salsa and all that. That was fun too. I tried to pay for the record. I tried to pay for everybody, but they wouldn't let me. So I did try to pay,
So we're going to start with Arkansas Psycho because I honestly have a little soft spot in my heart for that movie because not only is it great, I got to do a little voiceover in it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what was a awesome little like a riff on those those A&E shows or something, the True Detective kind of shows mixed with a little bit of horror. But it was awesome. For anybody who hasn't seen it, it's on YouTube, and go watch it. Arkansas Psycho.
I'd love to know what people think about it. I like reading comments.
But so where did you come up with the idea for it and stuff like that?
Well, in my group, my Facebook group, I do a lot of, I don't do a lot, but a lot from time to time, I'll ask people, like No Words was a Facebook contest. I'm making this, fan film about these 2 killers. What would be a good name for it? And Danielle, the girl that was in No Words with Tariq, her mom won the contest and she called it No Words. I was like, that's a great name, So Arkansas Psycho was another one of those little contests where Terry Williams, who's actually the caller in the on the talking to the detectives or whatever 911, she came up years ago with the idea of what about a true crime movie? I was like, I'll do that. So that's where it came in. Hey, Amy Lynn.
Hey, how are you?
That's where that came from, and so I forgot what I was doing. Amy Lynn distracted me. Okay, so anyway, that's how that came about. As far as everything else goes, this is the second time. This is a reboot. The first one I still have. Me and one other guy had a misunderstanding on something, so I just pulled it all and rebooted it. I still have the files, but anyway, it was, in fact, Amy Lynn, that is awesome that she joined, because that is how I met her. She wanted to go to work on, wanted to work with me on Arkansas Psycho. And I'm sorry, Amy Lynn, that, we haven't done that yet, but we will. She said sorry. But anyway, Arkansas Psycho, the fun thing about that is, and I want to do another one this year. The fun thing about that is I'm creating like a Star Wars kind of universe. I'm creating a fake place inside of Arkansas, this little town, all these fake characters, like the radio show where you did a commercial as the car guy. Even the DJ, the guy was out of Shreveport, did it for me, a high school friend at the end of it. I'm just creating this fake world, and, there's no limits with it. And I love that kind of, I'm not bound by fan film, and all that stuff. It's whatever I want. And that was the cool thing about the film. Even, Justin Breland doing the news guy, introducing it, all that stuff was so fun to just imagine and do. Like, I love it. It's fun. And then, I had, I can't remember her name. Bailey did the intro to the second one, to where, there'll be another one where she's doing that little, like a little, I don't know what you call it, live video. I don't know if you saw that on YouTube too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Little
Bailey
teacher
Freeman, that's her name. Yeah, she did that, and then it kind of gave a little more insight. But man, everybody on, and including you, everybody on the cast of this nailed their roles. I was like, man, this is really weird, and I had some really nice places we filmed at. Carson did good again, and then working with Timry again. They, at the end of it, that lawyer was cold.
Yeah.
But then, Vaughn and Dennis, I mean, everybody did great.
I love the ending more. I mean, the whole thing is great, but the ending with the guy laughing with the same guy that was the same guy that played the Joker, right?
Yep,
Lewis,
that's
yeah.
him. Yep.
Yeah, he doing the maniacal laugh while the girl's in jail calling him on the phone. It was just it was great and creepy. Yeah, just completely ignores her.
And I wrote that like we talked about earlier. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that up for interpretation on everything. For now, whatever you think that was about is what it's about. Because again, I want everybody to think. I don't want to just take their hand and drag them. This is what I want you to think. This is how I want you to feel. I hope you feel it. Do you feel it? No, you don't. Oh crap. I want y'all to think about it. So I enjoyed Arkansas Psycho, and eventually, I'll do another one this year. And I have ideas too, by the way, that I was talking to my buddy that lives in Missouri. He goes, "You ought to do a Missouri Psycho." I was like, "A Missouri Massacre." So what I'm getting at is each state that connects to Arkansas, I may do something, even though it's not filmed there. The audience doesn't know anything that I don't tell them.
Right. Sure. Yeah. So you have Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, all the way around
Tennessee,
that would be cool.
Yeah, kind of, and if I could do this, this is just far-fetched stuff right now, but if I could do this, I'd like to have a common thread on all of them, that brings them all together. There's a reason why I'm doing this, not just to do it. There's a common thread.
That would be awesome. Yeah. And I can't wait for Psycho 2, because so I loved the first one, and yes, admittedly, like I would tell family this, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is because you had something to do with it." And I was like, "Well, it was a small 10-second thing, but I was not in the other 21 minutes of it,
I hate that I had to cut some of yours. I cut some of yours down. It wasn't but anything but just for pacing of it. I hate cutting things on people.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I just, when it first came out, I was at my in-laws, and they have no internet, so I had to wait, and it was like the hardest thing to do, to wait for like a week until I got internet to watch it. But as soon as I did, I was like, okay, this is cool.
I know that other people have like um, I want to say this. I wanted to show it at a theater because I know Jason Pitts does that too. But
Right.
I looked at a couple of theaters, but I'm just kind of one of them things to where, it was a 21-minute movie.
Something like,
And
yeah, 21.
I think the cheapest place I could find was about $250 for 4 hours. And I thought, well, that's no problem. But what are we going to do with the rest of the 4 hours? You know, I mean, if we watch it twice, we got less than an hour. What's everybody going to do for 4 hours? I can't sing, I can't dance, so it's going to be awkward. But one day,
all right. So now we'll get to what I think you're probably most known for, at least around here, The Plan, which you have 3 of them, with a 4th one coming out soon, right?
That's right.
So where the idea for The Plan come from? We'll start, and it's great that Amy Lynn's here because she stars in the first 3 of them.
Yes, and other ones coming up too. The first Plan, me and my wife, that came from me and my wife. When we were younger, we wasn't even married at the time. It was an idea I had. I was like, so if we got in trouble with an animal and it was a family, one of us has got to go. Whether it's me, you, or the kid, which one would you say would have to go? She said, well, I'd sacrifice myself. I was like, you can't do that. I was like, if I go, y'all aren't going to have, and I hate to say strength is a bad word, but I mean, you know what I mean? Do you see my thought process?
Yeah.
The kid would have to go because the kid couldn't survive with just the mom. You know what I mean? And I hate I'm not trying to start anything with this because I know how people are sometimes. They take it the wrong way. But what I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'll be quiet because I probably dug myself too far. Because I know there's women out there independent and strong, and that's fine. But just the idea, this is all it is, just taking this little universe, and the idea is, the father in this one was a horrible person, and he told to do that, and then the wife got revenge, and the end is history. But that's where it came from. Me and my wife was talking about that one day. I think we was still in high school, so the idea.
The first one was great. Everybody did awesome, but
yes, and that's where I worked with Terry the first time too.
I personally enjoyed 2 and 3 both a little bit more. And 2 mainly because I am such a massive Jaws fan. It is my favorite movie of all time.
You caught on to that?
And the story
and Titanic
so much.
And Titanic.
And there's a lot of Titanic in there too, which I actually like Titanic too. So I'm one of the guys that's not afraid to admit it. I actually enjoy Titanic.
There you go.
Jaws is my favorite movie ever. So I got a lot of Quint Indianapolis speech in it.
Yes, exactly.
And the actor Kevin Day did such an amazing job. Like he was phenomenal.
His wife was in the first one, and she nailed. I mean, and they were in The Plan. Anytime I ask those people to do something, I want to save it for when it's, I think it's really, 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 really good because they're going to bring it to a level. Just like I said, I've been lucky with everybody else too, but I don't know. I know they'll bring it, and they'll memorize everything, and I don't. That's not how I film, but when people memorize it, that's a blessing. So it
was, I don't want to sound like I'm sucking up or anything, but if I do, whatever, I don't care. It's my podcast. I just 2 and 3. I mean, I'm not saying 1 wasn't great because it was. I didn't want to come off that way, but personally, just because of the Jaws factor of 2, and then in 3 because of just the over the top craziness of that character.
That's
2 and 3 were just so much fun to watch to me, and even though the story in 2 is really sad that he's telling, he's so good at it that it comes off great.
The third one had a little bit of personal influence in it, but when I got with Lewis, that was the first time I worked with Lewis. The performances thank you, Amy Lynn. That was the first time I worked with Lewis, and I remember he would come up to where I was working at the time, and we would go over, and he would want to know, how do you want me to say this sentence or this line or this paragraph? What's your thoughts when you wrote this? And I haven't worked with a lot of actors that, do that, because most of the time it's just friends or friends of friends, they don't mind helping me, but, once enough kind of thing, or I'm just a bad joke. But anyway, so when I worked with people like that, you know, and in essence, whenever that happens, you're seeing what I'm seeing. It's reflected. So working with Lewis, he nailed the role. He said, I mean, when I saw him, we went to that office that day. Amy Lynn was there too, and so was Marks Mitchell. It was like, you know, who is this guy? You know, Marks was saying, you know, that is art. This is art. This is going to be great. You know, and I'm like, man, thank you. It ain't me. It's this dude. You know, but he nailed the role. He nailed it. And then the end of it, we didn't. Amy Lynn will probably remember this. Something happened. I don't know if it was my battery dying or it was audio or it was something going on. That we only got to film the ending of it, I think 2 or 3 times. I don't know. Amy had to correct me, but it worked out, you know, and all that.
I turned it on today because I'd seen the first 2 before and I didn't realize the third one had been out for as long as it had, but it says it's been out for nearly a year on YouTube. But I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet until today. And I sat there watching it going, man, this is you know, probably if I have to pick a favorite of the 3, 3's my favorite, 2's number 2. And it's just because of his performance, just how and the other and Amy Lynn and
Marks.
The other Marks too, yes, because they didn't have to say a whole lot. I told Amy Lynn earlier she was great just by her expressions, like just her reactions to what this psychopath was saying. Was great too.
And Marks, see, that was Amy Lynn's role. Again, she did it very good to where she's the psychiatrist or the doctor. She's trying to listen, sympathize, and cut, you know, the crap and figure out what is real and what's not. Yeah, 3 times, that's right. The ending. And Marks was the detective. He's already heard this guy's story. He's heard it 1,000 times before this guy, and he'll hear it 1,000 times after this guy. You know what I mean? He's done. Let's just, you know, take this guy out of the chair and get it over with. They both, all 3 of them, nailed their roles. All 3 of them. And that is one of those instances to where, you know, I don't know if it was a good Lord shining down that day or not, but it did good. And I love the way it turned out.
So I just have a question as a fan of the movie. Was this supposed to be the day of his execution? Was
you know, this was his kind of confessional or whatever you want to call it. And then he was on his way.
Gotcha. Okay. Because there was a line that the detective said, "Let's just get you out and get it over with," or something. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, this guy's been on death row for a while." That's
right. That's right.
And man, we kind of flew. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The 4th one is a different. You know, Mike Brabender was in Arkansas Psycho. He was I can't remember her name on the screen, but he was Danae's dad. He told a story at the end of it. You remember the guy with the beard? Anyway, that story, I've had so many people say, man, his acting and that story made me cry up or tear up or whatever. And it's like, that is awesome. And we actually did that take. We actually filmed his part in less than an hour, but that was the first take we did. That was number 1. And I actually have it to where the files were different cuts and all this and that to slow it down or blah, blah, blah. That take we did was the first time he did it, which is rare. But after I got to the computer, put it all in there, I was like, I just like this one. So anyway, he's in the 4th one. And I like working with Mike because he's been in a lot of my movies. And it's the fourth one's, it's kind of like a 3, but it's not. It's kind of a different animal because I watched 1883. And the thing I like about that show is, like, it's people that are acting without saying something. So you're having to think, like I was saying earlier, you know, what are they thinking? You know, I'm looking at this character on the screen, but he's not saying anything. I see his face moving and stuff like that. What are they thinking? You know, that's kind of what I'm going for.
Gotcha. And I actually forgot one. I can't believe I did this. I have him right here in front of me. We didn't talk about him. We didn't talk about him.
Yeah, him. Let's see. The first one, I'm trying to remember what the first one was. Him. I can't remember the first one. The second one was with my kids, and the third one was with Amy Lynn, her husband, the big boat up guy, Daryl. That was him. Carson and another guy who's no longer here. I only got to work with him one time, Graham Val. And everybody, again, that was another one of them things that, you know, everybody got together and did it, as well as the owner of that building. Now, that was the whole deal. We didn't have time. to get all this. We had like one night to shoot this, and that was it. So it was another one of those rush things that we did, and everybody was available, and everything worked out good for me. I mean, it was written quick, filmed quick, and edited quicker, I think.
I have to admit, I did not get to see the first two, but I watched three today. That was the one I was thinking of, him three.
Yeah.
And it was dark. I love the dark atmosphere, them running through the building, and the crazy guy sitting on the floor just laughing at him.
Yeah. That was his first time actually doing anything, and he laughed so much. And that was the idea for that one. The whole idea was behind this was I had access to Kent. Text me or called me and was like, "Hey, Stacy," he goes, "I got this. How would you like to film in an abandoned hotel?" I'm like, "Well, of course I would." He goes, "But we only have a limited time to do it because they're about to do this, this, and this to it because they're revamping it for reopen it or something. So if you can get this done, in a month, we can do it." And I was like, "Oh crap, a month. I got to write something, go through the writing, find people, schedule, and get it done in a month." So we did, and I think that his laughing was the whole idea for that. Was I wanted something to be annoying in the back of your mind and it's psycho at the same time, kind of, nipping at the back of your mind, his laugh. And that's what happened. Again, I think that worked out for me.
Yeah. The laughing was great. And then the kill at the end with the axe was just vicious.
Yeah.
That was incredibly vicious.
Man, I had to cut half of it because I felt like I was like, okay, they get it. He's chopping this dude up into bits, I guarantee you, Amelin and Daryl will know this. What you saw was half of what he did because I had different angles and all that stuff. And Amelin was, assistant director on this. So I had her input and everybody's, Daryl's input and everybody's input, and that axe we used was a fake rubber axe the whole time.
You wouldn't have known it watching him swing it. It looked awesome.
Yeah, the whole time it was a fake axe. Even when he's holding it, it's a rubber axe that I got from Amazon. But that's the thing, is a lot of people don't understand when they make movies. They think, and I cross this on the plan for. They're like, well, in real life, well, people don't watch movies for real life. If you want to watch real life, you'll just walk outside. People go to the movie theater to escape reality. They want dramatic. That's why the Kardashians are so, popular. Even though I haven't seen it, that's just not my thing. But it's over dramatic stuff. Nobody wants. Well, in real life, no. If you want real life, then go hunt a squirrel or something. I don't know what to say. It don't work.
Okay, you officially become one of my favorite people because I've been saying that for years, and I get into arguments with people who say, "Well, that's not realistic," and I don't care if it's realistic. No. I enjoy. I mean, to be honest, I enjoy a bunch of crappy movies because they're entertaining to me. When I go see a movie, that's all I care about is being entertained for
that's what
however long the movie is. Yeah,
I mean, think about it. Like the Batman, which gets on my nerves. I love the Christopher Nolan Batmans, but I mean, nobody talks, "Hey man, how are you? I'm Batman." You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's over dramatic.
Right.
Let's see. That's the part of the reason I became a better actor. I wonder if she means by being over dramatic as far as that goes, because you don't want to be real life. I wonder if that's what she means.
Yeah. I mean, I just, some people like special effects stuff, it's like, I don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't care if it's realistic or not. Yeah, I don't care if it's realistic or not. As long as it looks good on screen, that's all that really matters to me. And
yes,
it's a movie. I'm not going to watch. I tell people when I go, especially horror movies, because I'm such a horror movie fanatic. I don't go watch horror movies to be like, oh, that's a great. No, I go because I want to escape and have fun for a couple of hours.
Yes, that's right. You want to escape everything and live in a world escaping reality. That's right. You want to get away from everything. You don't want to worry about what's going on outside of the theater or outside of your living room or whatever. You want to enjoy what the world is. And that's what a lot of people, even with the Plan 4, I had that come up. The audience doesn't know anything that you don't tell them as a filmmaker, So I'm telling you, this fire is right here in all essence and the actors are here. But if I flip it around and the actors flip, you're like, that don't feel right. But you know what I mean? I'm telling you everything.
Right.
So I don't know. It's kind of, it took me a while to realize all this.
I think we've gone through the majority of your, at least the ones I've seen. Now, there might be some that you've done that I have not gotten to see yet. And I didn't want to just come into this thing blind and sound stupid, asking you questions about stuff I hadn't seen yet.
Yeah.
But all of your stuff, like I said, I don't care what the sound, if it sounds like I'm sucking up or not. All the stuff
No,
I've seen of yours has been great. So
thank you.
I've really enjoyed it. You're welcome. Absolutely.
We as and I was talking to my son about this last night. He likes to draw things, and I was like, I'm kind of a weird person as far as that goes. I was telling him, and I was like, I think you messaged me last night actually and asked me about this, if I would do this. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, no, I said, I've got a problem that I like to entertain people. I do, because that's why I do this. I don't do it just to throw something out there, then nobody likes it. But at the same time, I kind of feel like that, whenever people comment on it, they're just doing it out of, be nice. You ever made something and people say, that's good. You're like, oh, really? I mean, you
Yeah.
see holes in it. That's what I'm saying. It's kind
Yeah.
of weird. And he understood because, he likes to draw, and I'll tell him, or it's like, you're just like, Mom, you're just saying it looks good. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Here's just, so Amy Lynn could probably understand because, she's an actress. So, anytime you do something, it's like, it's not that I want to hear it's good. I like hearing constructive criticism, but, at the same time, hearing nothing speaks volumes too for content creators, as in no comments.
Right.
You're like,
Yeah.
golly, did anybody see this? So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm brand new at this. Like, you're my second interview. I've done
yeah,
a couple of wrestling podcasts with a friend of mine, but he runs it. I basically just pop on kind of like you did tonight and answer some
yeah,
questions. And this is only my second time ever hosting an interview. So I
yeah,
don't know how this is going to turn out. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like, if people like it, then great. And if they don't, honestly, I'm kind of doing this almost selfishly. I'm kind of doing this for me because
yeah.
this is a great escape for me to have fun with and
Heck
a
yeah.
chance to kind of get myself to meet more people. Like, I haven't gotten to meet Amy Lynn yet, but I hope to one day,
Oh,
meet you
y'all
one
are up
day.
there. Y'all are up there near each other, aren't you?
We're only about an hour apart. Yeah.
See?
I think, yeah, because I live in Russellville, or right around Russellville, and she lives in Van
Yeah,
Buren. It's an hour, hour
yeah.
and a half apart. But and we're gonna actually hopefully work on something one day. That's what we talked about it earlier today, because I've got some stuff that I've written or going to write, and she's, but at the end of the day, it's also about you. Like, you have to enjoy what you're doing, and it
That's
seems
right.
like you really enjoy making movies.
I do. I don't feel any pressure with anything. Like, I need to do this film or I need to do that film. I kind of just do what I want to do. And that way, at the end of the day, I can say, I did what I wanted to do. I can't blame anybody but me. I can lay down at night and say, yeah, this is an expensive hobby for me with all this stuff, but you know what? I did it my way and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy it. It does, as probably a month or so ago, sometimes I get caught up and, well, other people have more luck and this and that than me and all this and that. And I got to remember why I'm doing it to begin with. And a lot of it is because of, I enjoy doing this so much, and the other part of it is kind of secretly, I have this underlying thought in my head that, one day I'd like to be able to, help raise awareness for, especially in my area, there's a lot of child hunger issues,
Uh,
and you wouldn't think so, but I found out that this was years ago that, during the summer, there's kids in my area, right outside of my area and all that, who don't eat if they don't go to school. And that's really not really cool with me. So what I'd like to do one day is to be able to, not with a camera on, because I'm not that kind of person, but go deliver meals, or whatever, go buy groceries or whatever for families and all that stuff. That's what I want to do. And that's kind of my underlying deal with this, is hopefully I can inspire somebody or write money or go buy groceries, something like that, with the money I make from it. But that hadn't happened yet, but I hadn't forgotten it.
I want to thank you for coming on. This has been
Yeah.
really, really awesome, and
Thank you.
I can't wait to, like I said, I can't wait to see the next planned movie and the next
April 3rd. April
Arkansas
3rd.
Psycho.
Yeah.
April 3rd. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, man, thank you for coming on again. You got anything else you'd like to say before we shut
That's
off?
it. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
All right, man.
Thank you
We'll talk
guys
to you
for
later.
watching.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Thanks, Amy Lynn. Bye.
Bye. All right. That was awesome. That was Stacy Misenheimer. Great guy. Awesome interview. Thank you for everybody that watched. And We'll see you next time on April 2nd. Right now, that's the next one I have planned. Miss Amy Lynn Woodall will be on with me to talk about her career and all the horror movies she's done. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.